Good morning. It is Monday, February the 28th. It's about 7:30. I've had a rough go of getting dressed this morning. It was as if I forgot how to get dressed. Like, I'm not satisfied with my hair this week. I need to get some more curl gel from Pattern. I think that's like the game changer in the whole process of things. And then by the time I was finishing up, I feel like I was just throwing makeup on my face. So there's that. I actually stopped by Starbucks this morning because I feel like I deserve it, given the fact that this is the last day of February and this month has just been a killer. So I picked up a vanilla sweet cream cold brew. Quite often people ask me what my drink is. That is my drink of choice in terms of iced coffee. And then if they don't have that for some reason, there's like an iced coffee that I create that is close to that. So I did that, and here we are, waiting at a stoplight. As far as teaching goes, I know I left off Friday's vlog kind of like in a mood, like in a state, and I feel like rightfully so. There's a lot of things going on in the world. There's a lot of things going on in the country in relationship to education. I had a very challenging week last week because I was out a lot. I had a biopsy, I had a rally, and so I really just spent the weekend just really trying to recenter myself. And I've come up with a couple of conclusions. Number one, I have to remember that I cannot control, dictate, as much as I would like to sometimes, the behaviors of other people that I work with. In terms of how they handle situations, whether or not, someone's in my parking spot, whether or not they respond to emails, things like that. So, you know, we had a rally on Friday, and when the rally was over, I was feeling like frustrated. Like I thought things could have been better. And I think that really had a lot to do with some of the logistical things that didn't go well. And some of the logistical things that didn't go well or according to plan were not necessarily because of me. It was more so because, why is she in my parking spot is really the question. It was really because my coworkers didn't necessarily read an email that I sent, or read it and decided, no, we're not going to do that, or read it, decided we're not going to do that, and then chose to not communicate that with me, or read it, decided we were not going to do that, and then forgot to communicate that with me, which is not a big deal on their end, but it's a big deal when you're putting on a rally and you've assigned kids certain tasks that are dependent upon the other teachers on campus following directions on how to do things, because then it stresses the leadership kids out during the rally when they're supposed to be doing this thing and they can't because the teachers aren't doing what you asked them to do. But I can't control that, and I can't let that feeling overshadow how I feel about their performance or how they feel about their performance at the rally on Friday. For the most part, I got a lot of positive feedback. By a lot, I mean a couple. I got positive feedback from the people that chose to tell me anything about it on the rally. And generally speaking, I think the kids did a good job. There's obviously things that I think they could have done better, or we could have done better on, and we'll talk about that in leadership today. But I don't want to let the behaviors of other adults on campus put a damper on what the kids accomplish. So there's that. In terms of the state of education in general, and just tolerance and inclusivity and teaching practices, I just have to remind myself of this. I was talking to our friend last night, and this is kind of where I got myself to at the end of the weekend. I just have to remind myself of the following: that I am a good teacher, and I don't say that with like arrogance. I know that I'm a good teacher because I know I put a lot of work, time, energy, and effort into what I'm doing, and I teach and I plan with intent. And I'm always looking at ways that I could be better, and I don't just wake up in the morning and grab the lesson that I did last year without, you know, reflecting on it and thinking about it and thinking on how I can improve upon it. And the people that quote unquote matter have told me or expressed me that they think that I'm a good teacher as well, whether that be the students that I work with, the families that I work with, my administrators or district leaders. And so I just have to remember that. and that no matter what anybody else is doing, I just have to focus on continuing to work on being a strong, solid teacher for myself and for my students, and really for society in general. And at the end of the day, at least I'm doing something positive for the group of students that I'm working with from year to year, and nothing that anyone else can do or say or any laws that are passed can change that. And so ultimately I'm doing all this for the kids that I work with, and I have to keep doing that, and I enjoy it, and I think for the most part they appreciate it. So that's where I'm at heading into my classroom right now on a Monday morning. What I really need more than anything is just a nice normal week where I'm actually there, where I'm actually like in the classroom every single day, just teaching and not worrying about subplans or negotiating or anything like that. As of right now, we don't have any days scheduled to negotiate this week, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen. I think there's some talk about maybe it being on Friday, but I have not heard that for certain. So that's it. I'm gonna head into my classroom, get ready for the day, and just reset and get through the last day of February and start afresh, start anew tomorrow with the month of March. Tomorrow kicks off my birthday month, in case anybody's wondering, and we're just gonna hope that my hair does what it's supposed to do, because right now it's not. So talk to you soon. All right, it is 8:52. I am on my prep period. I feel like I've been just shifting paper around since I got in my classroom. There were all kinds of things in my mailbox from last week when I wasn't here, packets, receipts for students, etc. But I'm jumping on really quickly because I want to show you what we're about to do in leadership. I'm sorry, but my hair today, like, surprisingly, I've gotten compliments on it, and I just feel like it's doing a lot of things. But with leadership today, we're going to talk about the rally on Friday. And this idea, once again, I stole from Esther Brunat, who's on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm not sure where she's getting these ideas from, or if she's originating these ideas herself. Either way, they're great ideas. And so we're going to talk about the rally on Friday in terms of wins, opportunities, and losses. So I'm going to have them do this on a Jamboard. So on this Jamboard, they're going to, you know, think of something that we did really well. Think of something that they felt like we were successful with and classify that as a win. Opportunities, things that we could have done better, things that we need to learn from going forward, even though they probably won't put on another Renaissance rally, but just in general, what are some things that we could have improved upon had we had another opportunity? And then losses, just straight up, we didn't do this well. Like, we dropped the ball here. There's really no reason besides we just didn't have it together. So we're gonna do that in leadership, and that's pretty much all I have planned, with the exception of some kids are going to be doing a little bit of cleaning, because after school on Friday, some kids didn't participate in that aspect of the rally. So the stuff that is just in the pod right now needs to be clean and organized, and we may have to do some outdoor cleaning as well. So that's what we're doing there. As far as my core classes, today is kind of like a heavy day for them. They have to take a math placement test with Mrs. Lawrence, and it's important because this test kind of dictates where they start high school in terms of their math track. And then we also need to share with them this packet. Let's see, this high school packet. It's a registration packet that just gives them all this information that they need to kind of keep in mind as they get ready for high school in the coming months. And that conversation from my memory always takes a while because they get anxious, they have questions, and then some of the questions I don't have answers to. It just takes time, you know. So that is what they're doing today. So I'm trying to keep it light for them in my class. They will have a weekend wrap. We're gonna do article of the week, and the article that we're gonna be focusing on this week deals with the pay discrepancy between female professional athletes and male professional athletes. That's one of the news stories in Week in Wrap. The article that we're using is older, and it talks about the start of the women's soccer team creating this lawsuit that I don't know all the details, but I believe last week they were successful in making strides towards what they're ultimately trying to accomplish, which is equal pay. We're going to continue with Manifest Destiny and Westward Expansion. Using the lesson from TCI, they're going to first justify or talk about as a group whether or not they think the acquisition of the Louisiana Territory was justifiable, because the big overarching question was, were all these actions, all this movement during the course of this westward expansion period, was it justifiable, why or why not? And we look at it in sections, and so we've only done the section on the Louisiana Territory being acquired. So first they're going to discuss as a group and decide whether or not they think it's justifiable or not, and I'll show you that slide at some point if I don't have time right now. And then we're going to move on to Florida. So we're going to read about the acquisition of Florida Territory, watch the student created video on Florida. This one, this group in my homeroom class did theirs based on Euphoria, very loosely, and then my switch class has their own version of the Florida video that we're going to watch as well. And if there's any time left over for language arts, we're just going to listen to more of the girl in the blue coat. So I'm trying to keep it as light as possible, given the fact that they have that math placement exam and they have a lot of standardized testing coming up. That's a whole nother story. So yeah, that is the plan for the day. Let me see if I can open up this TCI. All my icons on my bookmarks tab are missing, and it's really agitating me. So let me see. Give me 1 second while I get this opened up for you guys. Okay. How do I make this the whole screen? Okay. So when we get to this section, here we go. Before we start talking about Florida, each section they have to answer this question they're going to discuss as a group after each acquisition point that we're reading about. So this one, it says, was U.S. expansion into the Louisiana Territory justifiable? Decide how justifiable you think this action was, and they can choose anywhere from totally unjustified to totally justified. So they come up and they mark where their group is at, and we'll probably have a little discussion as to why they felt that way, and then we'll move on to Florida. What does this mean, perspectives? Interesting. So that's the teaching plan for the day. My prep period is about to end, so I'm going to spend the next minute trying to staple some things. Good evening. It's Tuesday. It's about 6 o'clock. I just got home from walking Riley. I left work today at probably 5. There were some things I needed to do after school. I updated some grades, and I'm just a little bit slow moving today because I think my brain is just really fried. And so because of that, it just took me a little bit longer to kind of figure out what I wanted to do in class for the next couple of days. I didn't really show anything in the classroom today because they're just working on this essay for Blood, Toil, Tears, and Sweat. I'll share the prompt with you tomorrow if I can remember. And today we just kind of looked at the prompt, we talked about it, we kind of broke it down, we tapped the prompt, and then they had a little bit of time to you know, start identifying text evidence that they could use, start maybe working on their introductory paragraph. So we did that in language arts, and then in social studies, we didn't do any history from TCI. In social studies, we just read the article of the week that went with vocabulary that focuses on the wage discrepancy for professional female athletes, specifically soccer players. And we just talked about that using the +1 routine that I shared in earlier vlogs. And that's that, but I want to share some good news with you. One, yesterday we found out in the state of California that as of March 15th, the kids will not have to wear a mask to school, whether they're indoor or outdoors. And I'm hoping and praying that that translates to also meaning that teachers don't have to either, but in these crazy times, you never really know. I'm really hoping so because I am so tired of having a mask on my face all day. I fully support the wearing of masks if that's what they deem to be necessary to keep things under control, but it seems like we're kind of easing out of things, and I think I heard on the radio this morning they're in California, we're at least transitioning from treating this like a pandemic and transitioning into treating it like an endemic, I think is the proper name. So that's good news, number one. Number two, I might start to talk fast because my battery's about to die, is I got my biopsy results today after school, and I am officially cancer free. So that is something I no longer need to worry about. I have an abscess, so I need to contact my doctor and see if she wants to put me on antibiotics to handle that. So I'm very relieved. I really am, and thankful, and thank you to everyone that sent positive thoughts and prayers. So I wanted to make sure to hop on and tell you that. That's really pretty much it. I'm gonna take a Peloton class right now, I think, and maybe, you know, as a celebration, have some Chipotle or something, and then maybe just relax for the rest of the night, because I am just really tired. I think mentally all month I've just been battling in one way or the other, and that is mentally exhausting, and I might touch on that a little bit more tomorrow, maybe not. It just kind of depends, because it's negotiation stuff and then stuff outside of that. But yeah, so I'm gonna see you tomorrow before my battery dies. See you then. Why? Wednesday? Let me just double check. I'm in the car and I just realized I locked myself out of my house because I was hustling and bustling and moving so fast, and I picked up my sunglasses and subconsciously thought I was picking up my keys, but I wasn't. My keys are locked inside, and luckily my mom is coming over and stopping by and she can let me in. But I'm really frustrated because I was so efficient with my time this morning because I wanted to get to work a little bit earlier and stop at Starbucks at the same time, and now all that effort that I made is gone to waste. So it's about 6:54. My mom is at a not a Starbucks, a McDonald's close by. She said she was gonna be here as soon as she can. It's a great start to a Wednesday.